So in prepping for my junk journal, I thought I would show you how I press dry my flowers. I had received a beautiful bouquet of flowers for my birthday, and I also have a tea rose, a bush in our yard. And so they had three beautiful blooms, and so I went ahead and just cut those, and I thought that I would go ahead and dry those petals. So I just basically pulled them off and put them inside the book and pressed them down. And I have a big book, so I will put as many as I can fit on one page, and then just kind of, turn several pages over and then start a new layer with some new petals or flowers. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of giving you a sneak peek of some of the beautiful flowers. And what I want to go ahead and do is cut up some more of these. Most of the time what I tend to dry is rose petals, since I grow my own rose petals, or wild flowers that grow in the yard. But this time I wanted to try some different ones. So we've got some carnations, we've got baby's breath, we've got daisies. So it was really fun to have these other flowers that I don't always use. And so I'll fill up the book with these. I think I end up doing 3 or 4 page fulls. And then I just close up the book and sit it under a piece of furniture or under something heavy to try to press out the moisture. And I'll do that for a few days. And then I'll kind of open up the book, check on them, let them air out a little bit, and then I'll press them again to get out any moisture. So it is depending on the thickness of the flowers. If it's just rose petals, it takes about a couple of weeks. Full flowers like what I'm doing here, those are probably going to take maybe somewhere in the ballpark of 4 weeks. So, but this is going to be a little bit of a probably a 1 or 2 month journey for me to actually complete the journal. So, so I figure whenever I'm ready, these will be ready. So now I wanted to show you the pages, some of the pages that I've put together, and kind of some tips on how I do my staining. Now I usually tea dye my paper, so all of these pages are tea dyed. So I dipped them in the tea, and what I do on my tea dyeing, buy my tea bags from the Dollar Tree, and you get a big old box. I think it's like 100, I don't know, 50 or 100 tea bags in there. And I use 10 at a time because, since they are just little bitty tea bags, I want to get some kind of a color on them. I don't want them to just be white pages. So I will use 10 tea bags at a time. And I do it just like if I'm, boiling a pot of water to make tea. I fill up a pot of water, and my pot is about like this big, and I fill it up, like that much, almost to the top, about that much from the top. So I put the water in there, get it up to a boil. I also go ahead and preheat my oven to 250 degrees. And I get my pages together, and I have a pan, and I just lay it in there on both sides, and then lay it on a towel, and then I take another towel, and I just dab the excess water off, and I usually do 2 or 3 at a time like that, and then I just stagger them like on top of each other and just stick it in the oven. And then I get started with the next set of 3 pages and, you know, dab the excess tea off and just kind of layer it like that, just kind of stagger it, because I find that it dries quicker in the oven that way instead of just laying 3 on top of each other. So I stagger them. It kind of helps the, you know, heat go through them better. And I usually get about 30 pages tea stained, I don't know, maybe in about 30 minutes with that process. Now on hot days, which we will be getting here soon, right now it's still, we're having a lot of rain, and so it, you know, I can't trust the papers to be completely dry overnight. So the baking them in the oven is the sure way for me, because, you know, I tea dye these pages and then get them in the mail to the customers like the next day. So, so that seems to be a good way to do it. Now with these, so I dip them in the pan on both sides and then sit it on the towel, dab the excess tea off. And then I'll just show a stencil for an example here. Of course, this isn't the same stencil, but so like, let's say I just take stencil, I lay it down, and then I take my, well, what I did for some of these was Tim Holtz Vintage Photo. I think I did Vintage Photo. And so I just laid it down and just sprayed. And then you'll find that whenever you lay the stencil down and you do that, you have a little bit of excess, you know, that kind of beads up on the stencil. So then I will take it and just flip it and do that, and just kind of pat down, and it just gives, it's basically just gives something like this. So this is what it was at first, and then this is what it was after, which, I mean, I like that. And so I did that. Now with this technique, I just put it 1 sheet at a time in the oven. You know, I have 3 racks, and so on each rack I put 2 sheets in, because I didn't want to mess it up. I mean, you could just go ahead and just lay a sheet on top, and you're going to get a little bit off on that other sheet. I went ahead and just stuck it in just 1 at a time like this. And so these are some that, you know, how they turned out. This is the front of it where I actually did the stenciling at, and then this is the back. You'll see, you know, how it bled through, and it's a lighter color, but I actually like it. I really do. And then here's another sheet that I did. And then whenever you're putting them in the oven at 250 degrees, it only takes about 5 minutes. It does not take long at all. And so I'll usually just set a timer for the 5 minutes, which if I'm doing a bigger batch, usually, you know, I put 6 to a rack, and by the time I get back to that bottom rack again where I need more room, those have been dried, so I just pull them out and put the new ones in there. So then here's another sheet, and you'll see the lines. You can see the lines where it goes down, and that's just where it laid on the rack, but I actually like that look. And then here's the back side of it. And then this one I did with some shimmer mist, which, yeah, you can still see some of the shimmer. I don't know if it'll pick up on here or not. So this is some of the shimmer mist there. And so again, what I did was I had the stencil, sprayed it down, and then flipped it over. So I really like the effect of it. It almost kind of did the opposite, where in the holes it was blue here, flip it over, the holes are white. So I really liked that. This one bled through just a little bit, not as much. I think just maybe because it was a lighter color, or either I didn't spray as much. And so here's another page here that I did. So, and I just had fun with it. And then this one the stencil where I sprayed the blue shimmer mist on first, I put it on here, sprayed a little bit of the brown, and so some of the blue was still on there, but I really like the effect of it. Kind of, you know, multicolored there, and then that's what it looks like on the other side. So really cool looking. So these are just some of the pages that I've gotten together so far, and it's a little bit slow going for me. You know, this time with some different things I've got going on here, but I did want to show y'all, you know, what I've kind of got put together so far. And, you know, and then like some little tips there with the tea dyeing and kind of the process I go through. And then these were some here that I did not tea dye these. They're just regular strips of paper where I just laid a stencil on it and just sprayed it with the blue shimmer mist. So, and it has more of a shimmery look to it. I don't know if it can pick up on the camera or not. But so these are some of the pages that I have. Really excited. And you know, these were the ones from the last video of where I showed you kind of the turning the crayons into watercolors thing. But I just kind of wanted to go over that for now. You know, just let you know, walk you through on the process how I do this. It is a lot of fun, and the effect is really cool. So it really adds that uniqueness, you know, to your journal. So if y'all have any questions at all, feel free to let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.